is Giselle or Giselle or Gigi, and this is my beautiful daughter, Jannis. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, in Hollywood, and I grew up very Catholic. I went to Catholic school, first Holy Communion, confession, everything that you can think of. And my parents, of course, had the saints, had the Virgin Mary. My mother actually covered to go to church in those years. That was in the early 70s or something like that. And she covered, she had a little veil that she would use. And so, yeah, that's basically my growing up was very Catholic. I went to all elementary school, all high school was Catholic. And it wasn't until later that I started to question the Catholic faith. I wasn't sure how appropriate it was to confess to a man in a frock. And I wasn't sure what they would teach us, that Jesus was God. And to me, I always had it very clear very early on that Jesus was a man and that he was sent by God and he was special, but that he was a man. And as I grew up and had my children, for lack of another faith to follow, I raised them Catholic as well. They went to Catholic school, we went to Mass. But I think we conveyed different messages because her dad he was more agnostic. But I needed them to have some kind of a faith because I felt that the parameters that faith give meant healthier children mentally and probably out of trouble and things like that. So I did raise them in the Catholic faith. And it wasn't until Jannis was about 20-something that she asked me one day, and I remember this so clearly, that she asked me, we were driving, we were going to one of her field studies together, and she asked me, Mom, do you believe... I didn't know that she was actually studying Islam at all. I didn't know. And she said, Mom, do you believe that Jesus is God? And I said, no, I don't. Remember?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't. I told her, I said, I believe he's special, but not that he's God. At this point in my life, I was not following Catholicism. I was actually reading I even read books on Druidism, Buddhism. I wasn't satisfied with my religion, but I knew that I needed something in my life, some spirituality. And it's just, Allah really, Jannis prayed. Jannis converted first, and when she converted, she can tell her story, but when she converted, I ridiculed her. I ridiculed the hijab. She would say halal, and I would tease her with that word, with something similar in Spanish. I didn't understand why she had to cover, why hide the beauty that God gave us. I would tell her only ostriches
bury their heads in
heads. And turtles, cover their hair. Why would you have to do that? She was my only daughter. I had 4 boys. And so for me, my only daughter was, to show the beauty and, very modest because I wasn't that type of a let's show it all type of person. But, when she started to have her changes not physically, but, with her
outward appearance.
Yeah. That's when I started to oh boy, this is serious. This is not a phase. And so it took her a whole year of praying to Allah to uncover the veil in my heart. And at that point, I was newly divorced and very vulnerable. And I started playing an online game, Heyday, with a brother in India. Well, with a lot of people, but this brother was Muslim. And he started to tell me, he goes, just read it. I told him that my daughter was Muslim. And he's like, why aren't you? And I'm like, no, that's not for me. And so he said, just study this, just read this. And he would guide me, as the days went. A little bit of game and a little bit of religion.
He was good at doing dawah.
Yeah. Tell you. Not even her. I think I was too proud to take it from her because I didn't want to show her the interest. Because I was hoping that this was just a phase.
It really came by surprise because she did keep it very secret. She did not at all tell me that she was learning about Islam. And then one day, she's like, do you have a copy of the Quran? I'm like, I do. Why do you want it?
Yeah.
It caught me by surprise. Yeah.
And so, yeah, one day, 2 days before Ramadan, almost 7 years ago, he said, he said, "Are you going to fast?" And I said, "I'm not going to fast because that would make me a Muslim." He said, "No," I said, "Would it make me a Muslim if I fasted?" And he said, "Well, if you believe that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was the last prophet." And I go, "Well, I kind of do right now." And he said, "Well, you also have to believe in the Quran as the holy." And I go, "I think it's like a trilogy, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran." And so he said, "Well, then I think you could be a Muslim." And I said, "Really?" And so that was when her and her husband picked me up to go to a lecture at Saba, at the Shia Association of the Bay Area Mosque here, Masjid. And I told them, "Guys, I think I'm a Muslim." And they both stopped the car. They turned around. Jannis starts crying, and then you can go on from there.
It was so surreal for her to say that. It was like, honestly, a dream come true. I get emotional. Because I did. I prayed a lot, My friends told me when I first converted, like, ask Allah for anything. Prostrate and ask God for absolutely anything on the night that I converted. And so I did. And I kept going, and I didn't proselytize to her. I didn't want her to feel annoyed. I didn't want her to feel like it was just me giving her all of this information and then going in one ear and out the other. I wanted it to be something meaningful, so I waited for her to ask me. And that's when she asked me for the copy of the Quran, and that really, blew me out of the water. I was like, what's going on? Why would you want that? And, when she told my husband and I, we had only been married a few months. It was our first, we got married a little bit. We got married on the 15th of Shaban, and then the month Ramadan came, and then she became Muslim. And it was just so surreal. I couldn't believe it, but it was a real true gift, alhamdulillah.
My life changed completely.
Yeah.
I used to, go to parties with the rest of the family, and they're all Latinos. They all make big parties and music and drinking and everything. Ironically, though, I had already stopped drinking before even thinking about Islam, because I got sick of the same old thing. And so I thought of my health too. And not that I was a big drinker, just drinking at parties. And so my life completely changed. I met her friends, and I said, "Oh my God, these people are just so beautiful." And the holy book, and I'm like, "Oh my God, the stories that are in there, to me it was like a book on how to live life." And just everybody was so kind. And of course, when I converted, I was Sunni by default, right? And I didn't even know the difference or anything. And then Zach, he's the one that actually, we went out, and Zach started to talk to me about Shia Islam. And then I made another friend from London also, and he told me more and more about the succession of how it should have been, and Imam Ali, alayhi salam, who he should have been the one to carry on the torch. And and so then I became Shia. And so my son, who passed away, Joey, he was Sunni. He converted after Jannis. And he was Sunni. And we tried to get him on our band, but he didn't. So my life changed drastically. I had friends who stopped talking to me, friends who would say things to me on Facebook. But I was so happy when I converted. It was such a blissful time for me. I knew that I wanted to get married, and I knew that I wanted a Muslim husband. And so, alhamdulillah, I found Servando, who was Catholic, but he converted as well. And so my life has completely changed. We have her babies, my grandbabies, who are now 1, 2, third generation Muslims. And my mom lives with me now. And The other day she said inshallah, which like, whoa. It's like, okay, my mom's been a tough nut to crack. She started also what I did to her, my mother did to me, when I started wearing hijab.
It's funny how the tables turn.
Yeah. And but she's very mellow now. She's accepted it, and she sees, I think by the way we act and behave, she's seen our Islam. She's seen that it's not terrorism. She's seen, she used to watch CNN all the time, or Fox or whatever, and she got her facts from there. And so when she sees people like us, when she sees people like Farshad or like Jannis, when my son passed away, the funeral was just something so beautiful. We had so many. He rode motorcycles, so we had bikers and Muslims praying side by side. This was right before COVID hit, so we had about 400, 500 people at the funeral. And so many Muslims came to help, and so many people donated to him. They didn't even know us or anything. Yeah. And so when she sees that, that's where Islam speaks to her. And the other day I had a friend come over, and she was saying, no, Islam is not for me because Christ is my God. And she goes, well, no, not God, the Son of God. And so, I think, little by little, maybe she won't accept it, but that she's okay. She's okay with it, and she's okay living with Servando and myself in a Muslim household. We have Allah framed up. We have, the Alul Bayt. We have Lady Fatima art that I've put up on the walls. And she used to tell me things about that, like, well, why don't you put something else? Well, I don't know if I was saying all this and she's going to watch this, but she doesn't say anything like that anymore. So she's accepted it. And, but yeah, my life, and along with Jannis, who's been such a great teacher, my life now is lectures, trying to do Islamic art, trying to study, YouTube, reading, as much as I can to grow my deen. I had a very special dream that I have heard that we're not supposed to tell our dreams, so I'll keep it to myself. But I had a special dream with Lady Fatima, and in the very beginning. And so that my relationship with her as a mother, as stoic and as she was, the daughter of our prophet, peace be upon him, how beautiful of a person, daughter she was, that's an example to follow. And Imam Ali, what can we say? Imam Ali was a hero and somebody very, very special, and somebody who should have been there following our prophet when he passed away. But, here we are in the United States, in California, in Fremont, and here we are, Shia. I'm a follower of Ali.
In the Latino community, there is a lot of drinking, and with drinking comes heavy-handedness sometimes. That's an injustice. And, Islam as a whole speaks, up against or stands up to injustice. And I think that if the Latino community could understand Shia Islam and accept it and implement it into their lives, a lot of the injustices would definitely go away.
And the rights of women.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the rights of women, in the Latino community, they say that Arabs are the ones that are very macho. But no, Latinos are very macho too. And women are seen as second-class citizens and be in the kitchen and cook for your children, and that's all you do.
Barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
Pregnant in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So, if they were to follow Shia Islam, and, we try to do with the center here, we try as much as we can dawah and telling people, but ironically, what happens is they fall into Sunni Islam by default, too.
There's just more, the ratio of Shia Muslims versus like Sunni Muslims, there's just so many more everywhere around the world. So, and also, just here. So when somebody learns about Islam, most of the content on the internet is Sunni based. Yeah. And then most of the people that they come across that are Muslim are also Sunni. So that's what I think my mom means by default. By default, we end up, learning and accepting Islam through the Sunni community.
Yeah. We have a sister who just took her Shahada on her own. She's from Argentina. And she was Sunni. And so I started to talk to her about the Ahlul Bayt and about Imam Ali and the difference between Shia and Sunni. And so she's now more interested in Shia Islam. But it's because of what Jannis said. Yeah.
How can we push Shia Islam, like practically, how can we push Shia Islam out to Spanish-speaking communities?
More literature, I think.
More literature
In
Spanish, and then also just presence, not being so like stuck in our centers and only serving our community, but putting ourselves out there so that the public can see us and hear from us. I think that would be very helpful. And having something that we can give them, whether it's a website, a YouTube channel, or just pamphlets in Spanish, because all of the Spanish content is Sunni. I haven't come across, except for children's books, any Shia Spanish content.
And when someone converts, have welcome bags, welcome baskets with literature, with the tasbih, the tasbih, with a turba, and explaining all that to them.